grabs the key,
Move right on.
and always knows when to cut me off, but very well respected, and I like him a lot.
So let me make the back of the room and the front of the room so I have this cheat board, because the truth is everyone, and I'll go back to the front, but I have a lot of content to cover, but this is not about me, it's about you. And so what I want to do is shape the content I have to what you're all looking for. So you all have a purpose for being here, and I'm not exactly sure what that might be other than it's the topic of swimming. So let me just do this. So I kind of broken the, you know, our conversation today to sort of leisure. Wow, sorry. No, that's okay. I'm gonna try this one. Try and competitive in a way. And just at a high level for maybe why you're here and what you want to learn more about. How many are here more for like the leisure? I kind of like to do it. I'm here to cross train. I'm not sure what to do with swimming in that context. Okay, I've got a couple like that. I'm just gonna, you know, roughly. How many are here for try? Like, oh my God, it's the reason I'm not doing a try because it's very intimidating. Yeah, can I float on my back long enough? Okay. All right, so I'm just going to say more than 2. And then how many are here maybe competitively to improve what they might do within master's program? Okay, good. Well, you know what, I'm glad about that because it's a cross-spread of people. So I'm going to make sure I cover all. We have a group here. I would say these two somewhat overlap. But I'll be honest with you before I start. I hope sometime in your life, you may not think about this, you may weave between the 3 throughout your life. In other words, I had my back go out like I'm from Minnesota, Kurt said, shoveled like a banshee last year, too much, too long, and too fast. I can get this, you know, like that. Threw my lower back out, couldn't run, couldn't do anything. I went right here. Hated it, because I'm like, oh my God, when can I go fast again? But this cured me. It helped me stay in shape. So I'm going to talk about leisure in terms of what you do just to start out, but also how you can move back to leisure when you're burned out on the other stuff. It's all good. That's why I love the sport. So if you want, you can take your seat over there. Okay, so, and of course, I brought my bag of goodies for show and tell, like, well, what does a swimmer have in her bag? So we'll go over this at the end because they're gadgets. And I have a very short attention span, so what I want to share with you are things you can do in the water that keep it moving along, either for pleasure or for competition. And I'm assuming this is just there we go. Okay, so, you know, the reasons for swimming, what are the key components to success in swimming? What I like about that one is it cuts across all 3 of those objectives. So all of us will learn and pay attention on that one. Hey, even though you didn't raise your hand, stay awake for everybody else's part. Okay. Training techniques, what to train for and how that cuts across. Physical side effects. Now there aren't many, but you know, there's some that I feel along the way, not because of my age, as Kurt pointed out, but for other reasons. Preparing for race day. This is just according to Ann Kennedy. You know, what do I do? But just if that fits you, so take what I'm sharing with you today, I call it a crock pot, put it in your own brain, cook it, and say this works for me. So I'm just here sharing general information, but then I'll tell you, you know, some tricks for race day for myself. And then resources out there for you. I even brought one that I use for myself. Okay, so why do we swim? Leisure, maybe because you swam in high school and you still like that feeling of being quasi-competitive but not quite intense about it. There's that club swimmer self that is more long competition where you have kids that swim beyond high school and are training for the trials, as an example. The club is what they call that. You're using it as part of your exercise regimen, or you're training for tri. And like I said, you might weave in and out of those throughout your lifetime, which is why we all love swimming. Okay, key components for success. Equipment. We're going to jump into that in a moment. While obvious, it might seem a little strange. If you're working out for a tri, or even not maybe so much for leisure, but for sure competitively and in the tri sense, make sure you're in a pool that's 25 yards and/or meters, because that's what everybody swims in. And so a hotel pool is not bad, or maybe a neighborhood pool in the summer is not bad. But if you're really focused on distance and yardage and counting, you won't know because they're 20 yards long or they're 15 yards long. So, you know, and I even say for tries, you know, open water. Now in Omaha we don't have that much time. In Minneapolis we had left time. But I'm going to really stress safety. You know, it may seem obvious, but in open water I can't stress enough, swim with somebody. I know you think, well, Ann, what if we both go down? Well, you have company then, going down with you, but, or have someone aware that you're out there or they're on shore, but safety is hugely important in open water. I don't know if you all just read, but even a champion swimmer died and drowned. Did you see that article? Yeah, so it happens. And then key components for success, technique. I'm going to run through this with all of us. I may have to take out my jacket because I really get into it and maybe do a couple strokes, but there's some key things for all of us there. Strength training and incorporate yoga's Pilates or yoga Lattes, the combination of yoga. All right, so starting with equipment. Okay, so we're out there for pleasure, for competitive and or for competition. A pull buoy. This is what helped me heal when my back went out. So this is, you put it between your legs and it pushes your hips up and it allows you just to use your arms. This is also very good for tri and competitive swimming because it makes you work on upper body. So if you have a sense of, my hips always drag, I can't get enough up to get in a plane line on the water, put this on. It's okay. Learn how to swim with this first. It shoots your hips up because some people do swim in an L. This is their body, these are their legs, and they don't understand why they're not going forward. So love the pull buoy. And with a pull buoy, paddles. Okay, what do paddles do? Paddles do a lot of things. You may have seen them as spider web. Have you seen those big hand set? I don't love those. I'm not a fan of those because I think they over project the real stroke in swimming. So hand paddles, these are Barracuda if you care. But you know what you love and hate about paddles? It won't let you make a mistake. So what do I mean by that? I'm going to take my jacket off because I think it's going to be a little bit interactive, right? Because you got, if you're going to bring up the paddles, I can't jump in the pool. Okay, so as you're swimming over the top, what this won't let you do is go out there. It won't let you cross over here. It won't let you do it because if you did, your hands would just flop away from your body. So your paddle makes you have to push on the water to the end of your stroke. It hurts, you know, so you might only do 2 lengths starting out with paddles, but that's what it does. It helps with stroke technique. It forces you into that. Where if I don't have a paddle, I'm pretty loose. I can go like this. You hardly notice. You know, I can swim like this. A paddle won't let you do that. You'll fly off into the water, and a paddle will force you into to better technique. All right, but my favorite, these are cheating, fins. Love the fins. Fins are great for a lot of things. One, variety in kicking, so with or without fins, building up leg strength. And if you don't swim at all, who cares? Put on some fins, get a kickboard, and you will propel. You'll feel like Michael Phelps. Even swimming, I use fins because it puts you on top of the water. So if you have a sense of, you know, wanting to be on top of the water, I'm going to go back to the leisure just starting. These are really nice. These are really nice to kick off that start because, again, you can't help but be on top of the water. I'm all about feeling on top of the water because a lot of people don't like that sense of sinking and being down low. So between the pull buoy and your fins, you will be on top of the water. That's one of our technique goals when we're swimming, is being on top of the water. Just a couple more things. Okay. Guys alike, or ladies, but for sure, I'm a calf girl. One, not just for the hair, but it's like a silk feeling over your head. When your hair is in your face, you know, and yeah, right? And you can't even ponytail it back enough. This just makes it all together. Again, a lot of men wear these no matter what. And truly the goggles. I like Barracuda again. There are ones with no foam, some with foam, and some with rubber. That's all personal choice. There's no better goggle than another. But, and then of course your swimsuit. But look at our sport. All in, if you go to Swim Outlet, $30 for a suit, maybe 20 for goggles, and another 4 for a cap. Cheap sport, all in for all of us. It's affordable. It's so good for you. So if you're thinking, I don't want to make a big investment, this is not a bad investment in getting into something that feels so good, And in fact, on the leisure side of it, I think of it as yoga. It's so relaxed. And you know what I really love about swimming? Nobody can talk to you. You're in the water, nobody can talk to you, your kids can't say, Mom, when are you going to be done? Like if you're running or biking, or if you're biking and you're at your phone, you hear it, you're like, ugh. Nobody. Silence is golden. So, if for nothing else, Get in the water when you need a half an hour and just floating. Not floating, but being on your back with fins, that's a workout. That's leisure. That feels so good. That's that yoga feeling. So if you're thinking, I don't want to do yoga, I want to get in the water, well, transfer your yoga into swimming. Okay. Other things. I'm getting a little personal with you, but that's okay because we're almost like family now. Lotion. Where's my lotion? For after the thing, you know, conditioner, lotion, a trick, I spray conditioner in my hair before I put my cap on so that, okay, here's another trick. Get your hair all wet. If you don't, the chlorine sucks into it first, and that's not good for the hair. So I'm just talking about some of this high-level stuff. So just, we'll take care of that. Now, technique. All right, everyone, the secret sauce is all right in here. How well you do it or don't is a little bit dependent upon how well you're going to swim or not. And if you give me 5 minutes, if we don't get anywhere but this point, I want to stress it. The breathing. Okay, joggers and runners all alike, yes, if we've done that, because swimming is a little different. Okay, so when we're running or when we're biking, we get the, when we're doing the outside the pool sport. When you're in the pool, you may or may not realize, it's exactly the opposite when you're breathing. So when your face is in the water, two common things that people do is when they turn their head, they both exhale and inhale. That'll kill you, meaning you'll get to the end of the wall and you'll be feeling like, you know, oh my God, I actually ran a marathon, and you really did, you swam 25 yards. And I would tell you simply, it's this part. So when you're down in the water like this, like that, we're not looking for that. And I'm not going to cure it all, but that's just one thing. When you think of breathing, it's like this actually. The exhale is in the water. And then you kind of can hold it like that. Exhale's in the water, inhale. And how do I know to inhale? Just always think the chin is going to go look at the ceiling, your eyes are going to look at the ceiling. So just get your head up, get your air, and then start your stroke back over. So breathing, I wanted to say that. Don't try to do both in and out on the side, and don't hang on to your breath that by the time you come up from air, you are needing an oxygen mask, and we're calling the paramedics. Body alignment. All right, real simple. Remember, top of the water, head in line with the spine. So if you have on that swim cap, water level is right about the swim cap. What's important about that? If I go too further in like this and I swim with my head down, like if you can almost feel your chin to chest, you're like a barge. You're forcing to push through the water. If I have my head in line with the spine, I'm streamlining. I'm working with the plane of the water. And then likewise, if I'm too far up, again, I'm not in line with the water. I'm also pushing, but in a different way up. So head in line with the spine is a good thing to think about there. Stroke. I'm going to give you an exercise you can do in front of the mirror. I still do this today. One key component. All right, here's our body, right? When we swim, just real quickly, you guys think of your body as the perimeter, the middle of the perimeter, and your arms should not technically go past inward shoulder level. So a lot of us like to do this. We go over, we break the plane. Not trying to do that. We're going in at shoulder. See how I'm going to go in at shoulder. I'm still staying aligned with my body. I'm not doing like this. Look at this. This is cool. Very nice. So that's our stroke. We're not going to try to go over this. And there was one other key to swimming that people forget. You actually move your hips, not like you would at the disco on Friday nights. But when you move your hips, you're propelling your body forward like that, versus you can swim like this. But it's going to take you more strokes to get to the end of the water, and thus you get tired more quickly, either open water or not. But when I move my hips, do you see how I'm pushing everything forward? I love that. The other thing I love, I'm no longer dependent on just this appendage to get me through the water. I'm using my whole body line. I'm going like that. I'm using my whole left side, which is really key. So again, we're not going to solve for all of the swimming things and technique. Just pointers for you to think about when you're in the water. Am I doing that thing where my hips, are moving, or am I swimming with just my arms? Okay, kick we already talked about. It can be, gentle. Use your kickboard to get on there. And surprise, surprise, Dara, Taurus, talked about core. The core is probably what stabilizes you the most. You're not feeling it or maybe thinking about it, but the core, when you're streamlined, it's almost as though your belly button is up to your back, and that is how you stabilize your body. It is stabilization. So when you think about your body streamlined in the water, the thing that's holding you up the most, other than if you have the pull buoy to hold up your hips, is you're tightening your core. That's why swimmers, I have to admit, they kind of look really good for the guys do without their jackets on. Because their core is so tight. And Dara Torres, who's now going to be 46, swimming for the 50 free in the Olympics because she got second in 2008, and it's killing her. You gotta love that. She's going for the win, and she said sprinting comes from the core. It's so tight as you rotate your hips, like we talked about. Tighten up the core. Sit-ups. They do 1,000 a day to keep the core tight. The energy comes from the core, and who knew, right? Strength training is obvious, perhaps, maybe not. But I think of the paddles as a little bit of strength training, but could you imagine taking little hand weights and doing just this stroke thing and pushing through when you're, practicing? That feeling of pushing through the water feels like a feather if you do strength training along the way. Oh my God, I forgot about the camera doing this. Okay. Incorporating yoga Pilates or yoga Lattes. I do that to stretch. And then I also said if I don't do yoga, I use the water to do yoga. So what does a workout like that look like? I might swim 4 lengths, put my fins on, and just kick. And then I'm just feeling the water, kind of, entombed in it a bit. And then I might do another 4 lengths where I do the side stroke. I have one arm up, and I just kick on my side, very gentle. So you can use swimming also, but if not, maybe incorporate yoga or Pilates to stretch out. It's a lot of upper body strength when you swim, and lower strength when you use your legs. So I know a lot, right, on key components for success. This cuts across all 3 domains. But do you have just a question around this before I move on? Technique, or we don't know what you just said, but it sounded really good.
You mentioned Swim Outlet. Is that an online?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, swimoutlet.com. $30 for a great suit. And goggles. You can get it all there. All right. Training techniques. Let's start with this one.
Did you ever, I have a question. Was there ever a point when you were swimming, and I don't know at what point in time, where you felt like the light bulb went on and you incorporated all 6 of those things and what it feels like? I mean, is there a point in time, or did you always just have a really good, efficient stroke?
No. In fact, thanks for asking that. I don't mean to say I still work on this, even Michael Phelps, everybody still works on technique. Everybody does. So if we know Tom Beck, who coaches the Creighton Prep swim team, they've won 12 years in a row. Tom Beck, you know what his secret to success is? He's an engineer by trade. He didn't get his coaching certificate really until later. An engineer, they're very good at technique. So half of his workouts are about one-arm drill. He calls them race pace turns, breathing, strength. And then the other half is swimming. In my day, the more yards, the better. We didn't work on technique at all. It was like, get 10,000 yards in. And it was just more about output. I love the technique thing. Less is more on swimming. So yeah, I mean, if you guys have to really think about how you walk every day, you don't. You just do it. So you know it when it's like that. But hopefully you do think about it even consciously. When you get tired is when I think about it the most. My stroke falls apart still when I'm tired. Okay, so just I'm going to go into each of the 3 really at a high level. And I'm going to be mindful of time, but I'm going to just assume in this conversation that I'm having with you, you will talk and ask questions along the way, or write them down and we'll pick them up at the end. So leisure, you want to get into it. And again, it is a lifelong sport. One of the reasons I'm always still motivated is one place I swam was at the Y, and I'm seeing these 75-year-old women still in the water doing leisure. God bless. I mean, leisure, they get their tennis shoes and they walk the pool. That is not uncommon. Walking the pool for exercise, using a noodle, they'll sit on the noodle, and even sculling. They'll scull very slowly, but up and back, they're still working upper body. So they don't like putting their face in their water. They don't have to. They accommodate in other ways, using the water as strength, as a pushback for strength. Any of us can do that. Any of us. Whether you're here for that sort of that high of a leisure exercise, you're healing from an injury. But I would say in all 3 of our domains of leisure, tri, and competitive, the success to swimming is you have to get in the pool. And I know, maybe obvious, but 1 time a week is kind of okay, but not when you're training. It's got to be 2 to 3 times a week minimum. I'd say competitive, on tri, or otherwise swimming. We're talking 5 days a week, 2 times a day. So just be mindful of, okay, what's my goal? What's my personal goal? And really, you have to pick. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to swim. Think about which way you're going to approach it, and get in the water and do it. When you're there with a plan, 10 times out of 10, you won't let go of the plan, because you already know what it is. So be mindful when you're at swimming, rather than, I don't know what I'm going to do today, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to swim. Be mindful. And set a goal for yards. And one of the things I had that I was going to show you, and I even referenced this book, and she was a swimmer in my day, is Janet Evans. There's a lot of books like this that have those workouts in them. Grab a workout. She has stroke technique in here, skill sets in here, and then yardage from leisure to tri to competitive, and paces you depending upon what your goals are. I love this book, and I've had it now just for about 8 months, because I have this goal in mind for myself, and this has really been a lifesaver. So yes, no one's there to coach you through it, but she does a pretty darn good job. She'll lend 800 free and the 400 IM. So that's her in terms of reference of where do I get my yards, where do I get my workout. And that, I guess that's these two. And you probably know, they're online everywhere too. You can go to masterswim.com or org, and I'll show you that at the end. Okay, but the other thing here, and again, even if you're not even slightly ADD, swimming can get boring. And that's why a lot of, like, how do you just go up and down that pool so many times? Well, that's why I have my gadgets. I'll switch it up. I might do 4 lengths with my fins, then I take the fins off and I'll do 4 lengths with just the board, and then I do 4 lengths, or however many, you don't even have to really count, with the pole buoy, without the pole buoy. I might pick up my pace and then I drop it back. There's a lot of variety within swimming if you want to add in a couple of the gadgets, with fins, without fins, fast, medium, slow pace. Yardage, 25, 50, 75s. Ladder, 100, 150, 200, 250. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, and these sites or resources will show you how to do that. And that's what I mean by mix it up. Swimming with a buddy. It's just like a workout, riding or running. Make sure someone, if you need help getting your first start, have them meet you there at the pool. It's always more fun to swim with someone, and their caliber doesn't have to be the same. It's just the fact that they're in the pool. I swim with a group of like 6 people. Some are, just starting. So if we do a set of 8 lengths, they'll do 4. And we kind of get in at the same time. That's not the point. The point is they feel good, we feel good, and we're all there together in community. That's why you would do that. Master's program, if you want to start, as you elevate up the leisure part of your swim exercise, if you never leave it for just that, forget all the rest of this. It's not important to you, nor should it be. Just go in and enjoy the water. It's quiet, it's comfortable, you stretch. It feels really good on the body. I would say no matter what you do, and you're going to see this with everything, include a light strength training, just simply because your upper body will be easier to move through the water, and then the other 2 things we talked about. So those of you who think of swimming more in the leisure, is there anything I didn't cover that is on top of mind for you? Okay. Competitive. We had a couple people here. I'm going to spend most of the time on the tri. So this is different a little bit. As you can see, I'm really kind of saying you got to get in the water, and you want to pick yards for sure. So depending on if you're a sprinter or you're more distance. So for everyone, what that means is you like to swim that 50, 100. That's it. Or if you like to swim the 2, 4, 800. That's it. This will drive your yardage and how you mix up your workout. The other thing that's different about this page in competitive is you're mixing it up like you would in spin class, perhaps, and that is spin class has an endurance day, a speed race day, a hills day, or a strength day. Swimming is the same way in that you have a base day. What does that mean? It means that you do a lot of repetition, like 10 200s on the 3 minutes. That's helping you set a base, so when you go to just 2 200s on the 5 minutes really, really fast, your base is set, and now you're working on speed. So we all need a base in swimming, and that's the hard work, is you've got to get in the water to build that base, and you have to get the yardage in for this thing to set. So you've got your base, and now you're saying, okay, I'm kind of tired of that. A different day would be maybe 10 50s, that's 2 lengths, and you do those on the minute, but you go really, really fast. So now you're breaking up that base feeling of very comfortable. I mean, tries, God, I mean, it's an endurance thing, right? You just swim and you swim. This is not that. This is like speed and power all brought together. Quick flip, turn off the wall and back you go 10 times. That's the difference between base and anaerobic. Race paces, you have a goal in mind for how you want to do, like I'll take Dara. She has a goal in mind to win that 50 freestyle, and I kid you not, she already is swimming at a race pace somewhere. If her race pace time is 25 seconds, she's doing that in workouts. Your body has to get used to that intensity, and mentally it prepares for, I have to perform like this again, don't I? And it is. It's probably the most high-level exertion you can put out there. But people who are competitive and are going for that big, gold medal, they incorporate those race pace events. And I would think you do that in running too, in biking. You have a pace you want to keep. Skill and drill sets. I'm going to go back to the Tom Beck example. We don't want it just to be all about swimming. What's a drill set? You could do this, but for sure in swimming, it's not uncommon. It's a 1-arm freestyle, is 1 length. You just swim with 1 arm. All you're focused on is this 1 arm. What's it doing? You feel it, you work it. The second length is this arm, right? The third length is catch up, 1 arm at a time. The fourth length is a normal stroke. And you're like, it feels so good because you've been practicing for 3 lengths on how to make that 4th length really good and really solid. One on the fly is kick underwater as far as you can. You come up with 2 strokes, no breath. The second one's a breath, go back under and do it again. So those are drills, 1 arm and kicking, kicking, kicking. Kicking sets are really important. They build up a different strength in running and biking. I used to believe I didn't have to kick because I did bike and run. That's a false statement. You got to do the kicking. It's a 6-beat kick. When you're kicking really fast, your body has to prepare for that. That's what you're doing. You're setting it up for those race paces. Michael Phelps, all of you can watch this, but he is on YouTube when you talk about technique, way better than what I was doing up here, against the screen. But he will show you back breaths and free, and he'll hit on the things we were talking about. Arm level, you will see it. It's really beautiful. It's like dancing in the water. I would say here, if you don't have a swim buddy and you're working on competition, what I like about USMS, United States Masters Swimming, is it puts you in with a body of a lot of people, lots of sets, lots of more competition. So that pushes your level of effort up higher. And then you can see I have the same things. This one too, because you're using so much more energy and output in terms of what you put into the water for nutrition. Vitamin D, calcium supplement, make sure you check with your physician. I didn't say that just because we're in the med center. I can say that to anybody. But, I do take supplements I can't create it fast enough by the time I have to get in the water again. So for me, in a competition, that's what I do. I know that was real high level on competition. Go ahead.
I have a question. If we are working on a schedule to increase yardage, and for example, I can get to the pool twice a week.
Yep.
Would you recommend once a week just go in and do your laps and work on that endurance piece,
Yep.
and the other session would be more drills? Or because I always feel that sort of, I'm torn between I want to get my yards in, but I want to work on technique, and I don't know if it quote unquote counts towards your yards if you're working on technique. So
I will qualify that with it depends on your objective. If you don't think you'll ever race per se, just go ahead and get the yards in, because what you want to do is build up your base.
right.
But even in that, let's say you want to do a mile. I can do a mile maybe once in 6 weeks, but what I'll do outside of those straight mile, I'll do 1 time 20 lengths, and then I'll do 1 time 16 lengths, but I only wait 10 seconds in between. I just break it up, because that's straight out thing.
Okay.
The other thing I find about straight out swims, you get tired.
Mm-hmm.
And so by lap number 30, you're probably a little lower in the water, the arms got shorter, you're talking to yourself like, why am I doing this? When you break it up, you start over. Every time feels like a fresh start. So you do 20 lengths, you stop, you get your breath, you're like, okay, and now you just do 16, and you're coming down. It's so like that. and then you do just 12, and then you just do 8, and you see yourself coming down the ladder. Ladder swims, to me, love them. It can be 6 lengths, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's a 500 yards. When I do that, when I just help people out, I'll say do 6 lengths as a warm-up, then we'll do 5, 4. And I'll say, what's the most you've ever swam? I don't know, maybe 4 or 6 lengths. And you say, did you realize you just did a 500? So they get lost because they broke it up. They came down the ladder psychologically. It was easy, and it feels good to get that in. So I'd say both, but I guess what I wouldn't say is break drill is one whole thing, because you want to reinforce the drills right away with the swim.
Okay.
So drill and swim, and then a flat out break broken up.
Okay.
Okay, tries. Yes, of course, we will swim outdoors as much as possible, not just when it's calm. In fact, that's key, is the more different kind of weather you can swim in outside, because you have no idea what race day will be like. And you know, it would be unfortunate that all you've ever swam in is calm water that's warm, and today it's wavy and cold, and you'll get in there and just maybe somewhat panic. I've heard people tell me that. All right, so I taught a master's, actually some tri-swimmers, act as if you're outdoors. So what do I mean by that? So what I would do is I would have people start in the middle of the pool and never touch the side of the wall. They had to tread. The whole time, we would just start our workout in the middle of the pool. Now you might say, well, it's only 4 feet deep. Fine, lift your legs up. Just start this going. So, and if I had 2 people in a lane, I would say, okay, you guys, go to the opposite end and come back to the middle. So what does that do? What it does is they have to look up to see each other so they don't crash. Just like you do in a tri, you have to look up, start your stroke again, and you're looking for cones or markers. So I would do drills in an indoor pool. It wasn't exactly outdoor, but if I didn't let you touch the bottom and you had to get your head up, I tried to think what's key about a tri-swim. It was that. The third thing I would have them do, 3 people had to swim down together and crash arms and, you know, get water in their face and get hit. It wasn't dangerous, but it gave them that sense of, I'm so crowded, because the beginning of the tri, if you don't hold back, it's panicky. If you, I mean, you can't grab someone's leg and jerk them back. I guess you could. But you're swimming on top of bodies, you know, and you're getting kicked in the face. The goggles come off. Silly as it sounds, that would be another thing. In the middle of the pool, I would say take off your goggles and lay them on the water, and they would, and I'd say, okay, now put them on, treading. Because if you're out in the middle of the lake and your goggles come off, you have to know how to get them back on while you're treading water. So, though, you know, again, not all things covered, but I would practice crowded swimming. I would practice swimming where they couldn't touch the bottom, and I would practice swimming where they had to keep their head up, and you can do this in the indoor pool. If a pool's shaped in a way where you can actually swim in a square and never touch a side, that's ideal. But that doesn't happen in all cases. So that's what I mean by this. You kind of act as if you're outdoors. Well, I mean, I guess I should have said in a race. So, all right. Move away from all straight swims, add variety. Focus on distance per stroke. So this is where tries are different. I mean, it's impressive. I know a tri-athlete when I see them in the water. But they're just a go bunny. And it's so steady, and nothing changes about their stroke. I'm like, they're swimming their mile today. You can just tell. You can tell who they are. And that's not bad. But what I would tell you is, without ever switching it up and throwing in some anaerobic interval or some sort, you will always stay at that level of pace, because you're not doing anything to push your body up and over that pace. So the mindset is, oh my God, I got to swim a mile because that's what the race length is. Yeah, but if you only did, say, 1,000 yards, then pushed 5 200s, which is 1,000 yards, that same straight swim is going to get faster. Because you're still doing 1,000 yards, you're still tying it together and connecting the dots. You're approaching it differently to improve that long, solid swim that's going to be in front of you. If you care about the swim part. I mean, we all know it's the shortest part of a tri, but that's one. This is another important one. In the pool, distance per stroke. So one of my rewards is when I have a swimmer that I'm helping swim, and they start out swimming a length. But do this. Distance per stroke is how many strokes does it take you to do a 25 free? Let's say it's 20 20 strokes, right? And you should do this. How many strokes? All right, so after we worked together for a while and they've done the hips, you know, they're rolling into their stroke and they're long and smooth, yoga-like, breathing is controlled, they'll take that 20 strokes per length and bring it down to 16. Why is that important? Well, imagine not having to swim 4 extra strokes for every length for 1,000 yards. You just saved yourself energy of about, I don't know, 100, 200 yards. So on a try, and in distance swimming in general, it really is about holding distance per stroke. How many strokes does it take to finish at 25 and holding that? Because I'm going to go back to being tired. It happens to all of us. I don't care what level of an athlete you are. If you start out at 16, my guess is half a mile in, you're back up to 20. Just because you're tired and you shorten your stroke. So all these drills and working out that you're doing is to help keep that same pace of 16 for the whole race. The whole race. So working on that in the water when you're in a controlled environment helps. I started advising this, and I even said to Kurt, you know, not that he really needs to, but master swimming has a 1,000-yard swim, and it's a way to say, well, how am I doing? You know, because you can't be outdoors in the winter, but you can still swim that distance in kind of a safe environment. So I've had 4 or 5 people in the last 4 months join master swimming, but just for the long event, to kind of maintain that longer distance swim that's going to hit you in the summer. Granted, it's not outdoors and there's turns. They hate the wall. Most triathletes hate that wall because they have to stop, turn, and start their energy over again. But if nothing else, it keeps you very mindful to see how are you doing on distance per stroke. What do you mean by that, Ann? Well, you will get what's called a split on every 2 lengths that you do. A split is your time. And what these 2 people saw in their splits, so there's 20, 50s, so 50's back and forth. There's 20 of those connected together to make the 1,000 yards. So let's say that first 50, they started out at, I'm making up the seconds, a 40, right? The second 50 was a 41. The third 50 was a 41. But then, 43, 45, 48, 52. They had no idea. They had no idea how they paced for 1,000 yards. And if nothing else, swimming in this race, it will show you how you did along the whole 1,000 yards and where your stroke is falling down. That's why I'm going back to this. If you hold that distance per stroke, your splits technically should be pretty even along the whole way. 40, 41, 42, 41, 41, 42. Just a nice, steady, strong pace the whole way. So that, I mean, it may not be helpful for you, but I have found that they've learned a lot about themselves, the way that they swim that 1,000 yards by doing this. Okay, another thing I would do is we used to do swim and spin. We would, I started this class at Prairie Life. It's the opposite direction, but the concept is the same, where we would spin for an hour and then swim. So I said, all right, you guys have 5 minutes to get into the water, and I connected events for them with swimming to get mentally set for, I've done this before, I know how to ride and swim together, that's no big deal. So you're not shocked, but by the time you actually do it in a race, you're really comfortable with it. Ideally would be to swim first, just like you would in a try, and then get on the bike, which some people do, or bike and run one day. You know, but connect your races when you train for a try. But the one I'm most fond of is the swim and the bike. And what I like is, you guys should mentally think about this, is, wow, I've been using my arms, I get to sit down now and use my legs. I think that way. The run is a whole other story, we're not going to talk about that, but the swim-bike connection, practicing the transition, mentally being prepared for it, and thinking, we all know this, your brain's like a computer. If you practice it and set it up, it's just like, oh yeah, I know what to do here. So I liked that one. And then these 3 you guys have seen before. Just, strength training, I can't stress it enough. Yoga, yoga lattes or Pilates, and supplements, because there's so much output in nutrition. You gotta fuel your body back up. You just, you want to. Okay. We have 10 minutes left. I have a little bit more, but how are we doing here? Good? All right. I think we zoomed through the rest of it. Okay, these aren't real big deal, but I don't want you to be surprised like, oh man. So What physical side effects, if any, if you feel them? Shoulder soreness, like I might get it here, bursitis, or a little bit of tendonitis, because if you think about it, constant shoulder rotation, it's there. So you want to make sure you stretch. Pilates and yoga, that's why I stress that, is it gets rid of it, and I'm not sure exactly how the body does it, but it does. Lactic acid buildup. Ugh, not a good feeling, but you all know it. It will happen in swimming, especially when you do those fast sets. You're tight. I call it the elephant on the back. If you just, you feel like when you swim, this whole thing is a piece of concrete and brick. That's lactic acid buildup. In swimming, the way you get rid of it is, just like anything, cool down. Do 8 lengths of barely swimming, but just soft and slowly. Cool down. Get rid of it. Muscle cramping, if you've got a lot of output, right in the middle of a set, you put in a big fat kick, that thing will lock up. That is another way swimmers drown, by the way, is they cramp and they can't move. And they're not by a wall. Hence why they don't like people to swim by themselves, even in a pool. But muscle cramping will happen depending upon your intensity, what your nutrition is, how much you've done in a day for working out. So a trick here for me is if I'm on the wall, I just put my feet up together and I will push back and stretch out the whole calf and upper leg. Oh, that feels good. Nice move. If nothing else, just grab your toes and start to slowly bend back your leg. It's usually going to be in your calf. Fatigue, it's a good feeling when you have it, but you're going to feel that empty, heavy feeling after a nice, long, good swim. Not a surprise. I just take a nap. Itchy skin, okay, even so, and dry hair, I know not a big deal, but this is where I was showing you what's in my bag. No matter what kind of a shower you take, I don't know if it's ever happened when you've been swimming and you might sweat just a tiny bit later and you smell like a pool. It's embarrassing a bit if you're around people. Not that ever happens. But, so, lotion, lots of it. And here's a trick. I have swimmers who will actually put almost a balm on their face before they swim. Put a protection layer on the face and or the body. All right, but when you do that, make sure you get it off your hands, because then you're not going to catch the water. So you can kind of put, like you said, Ultimate Gold Bond, an hour or two before I swim, and I put an hour or two afterwards, to protect your skin. And then dry hair, just good luck on that one. If you get your hair wet first, that helps a lot, and put conditioner in. The one side effect of that is your cap might start to slip off, so like a spray and conditioner works better, but these are things that I hear from people saying, what do you do about this? So I thought I'd throw them out there. And those aren't all of them, they're just the ones that we get. Okay, preparing for race day, closing in here. So taper, tapering. Well, know a little bit about what that is. You basically shut down a little bit so that you rest. So I have a swim meet next Saturday, and I'm going to start to back off, but I don't want to back off too far that I lose my base. I mean, I won't weed, but that you want to make sure you don't back off too long and too far away from the vent, because then it's like, oh my God, I can't make a 50. I drink a lot of water. This is just Dan. 2 to 3 days before the race. Not so much on the race because I can feel it when I'm swimming. This is probably one of my number ones, and it does blow me away how this actually works, but I swim my race in my head with my eyes closed. I touch the wall, I look up at the monitor, and I see my time. Now it doesn't have, and I'm not ridiculous about it, like I don't put a Dara Torres time in my head, but if I say that I can respectfully do whatever time, the night before, not earlier, I'll start to swim it in my head. And my hand will always touch first. Now, it may not happen that way in the meet, but, someone's got to win. It may as well be me and you. So visualize. This is true, though, of anything, even in the tri. See yourself starting off in the water, taking that dolphin dive, kicking and getting ahead, or not. You're going to hang back. You're going to be calm as you get into the water, get your stroke set. But visualize what you're going to do and see the finish. Okay. I don't know if you saw this real time, but oh my God, I still watch it. It's been 4 years, right? Do I have post-traumatic syndrome or what? That 400 men's free relay, what is amazing about that is when you added up all 4 of our men's times, they did not beat the French. It was like, we can't win. We cannot win. I mean, there's no way you can win. We've got our best swimmers, and when they do their best swimmers, we cannot win. And we did, like I've been in the boost bump still. And what's crazy about that last guy, Lizak, is he swam against the world record holder in the 100 free as it was, the French guy, and the guy had a head start. I'm like, oh, this is not going to happen. Even the announcers, you know, I just don't see it happening. You know, he said that if you add up all the time, there's no way U.S. can win. And on that second length, it was about who wanted it more. And back to being tight and lactic acid, watch the French guy. His stroke slowed down. He got very short. I'm like, oh my God, he is tightening up. And we won. So this one, I don't know, it does it for me. You know, the day or two before, I need potassium. It helps me with the lactic acid and, you know, other nutrition. But like me personally, I cannot eat before my race unless it's about 90 minutes before. I like an apple if I have time before, gel packs, quick sugar, you know, all that. I do bring these, but I don't drink between events. I know people who like to, but for me personally, I'll drink water or something else. And then this one too. You know, it's real easy when you know who your competitor is, and you say, I'm going to follow you. But when you do that, you lose sight of your own race, and you get distracted. So, yeah, you know, you're eyeballing the competition, but really think about what you're there for. You're there for a personal reason. You're there for your own personal goal. Do it. Make it happen for yourself. Be mindful, and at the end, by all means, go to the end and beat them then, but toy with them along the way, you know. But swim your own race. The minute you start watching somebody else, you're going to lose track of where you are, and you're going to, you know, you're going to lose your concentration and focus. And this is the last page. These aren't all the resources, but I would say they're really good ones for getting workouts, you know, technique. This one, if anyone can, you can even use your smartphone if you have that friend. Have them videotape your stroke. They can just watch you swim one length. And so what are you going to watch for? Did I cross over? Do I have a high elbow? They can't show you underwater, but they can show you the top. And even on the top, swimming has two parts. The top of the water and where you enter, and the underwater stroke, which is when you need the underwater camera. But if you can get someone even to tape you with your own phone, that would work. Swim World Magazine, I love this one. Lots of workouts in there for you at all levels. And then other swimmers, you know. Other swimmers will help you. I mean, if they're like me, and I don't know about you, but we'd love to help people who have a passion for swimming, just because, you know, you care enough to ask. So other swimmers in the water are typically very helpful. And then I referenced this Janet Evans book because I thought it was fabulous for beginners all the way to, you know, the Olympic gold swimmers. She's got it all in here and did a great job putting it into bite-sized pieces. So, all right, so we have about 3 minutes of time if anyone has just any general questions about training or drills or...
Are you training for anything?
Did you plan that?
Should answer the question.
Yes. I dusted off my swimsuit after quite a while, and I'm shooting for that Masters Nationals right after the Olympic trials for my age group. So,
Wow.
I know, I haven't been this intense for about a year. Well, I mean, since NC2As.
Sprint or long?
I'm mid. I'm the 200. 200. Yep.
You gotta have those goals.
My last year of training has been so enjoyable because I have. Before that, I would get in for more leisure. But this goal, I hate it and I love it. You know, like I won't miss a workout because I know I have to get in 4 times a week. And yeah, I have to double up a couple days because I missed it, but it's spot on. Thank you. Okay, you are in questions. You're done.
If I swim more, will my arms look like yours?
Here, here.
Can you guarantee that?
Yes. I usually don't lift weights, actually. This is from swimming.
That'll give you.
Yeah, I'm giving you water.
Butterfly and freestyle. Yep. Does anyone have any other questions that Kurt's not feeding?
Is your Janet Evans book, does that include like uses of your little gadgets or that you referred to?
Yeah, she may not lay it out like I did, the fins, the pull buoy, and the paddles, but she'll say where paddles use a pull buoy.
Okay.
That's what she's referring to, paddles and pull buoy.
I'll put it in the next email too for you.
I love that book.
This is sort of a weird question, perhaps, I don't know. When you use that pull buoy, do you kick? Or you just work in your
No, that's a
arms?
good question.
Okay.
You can cheat and kick a little, like it'll flop naturally, but if you kick, the pull buoy will
Right,
pop out.
okay,
So you're trying not to.
okay,
You're,
just maybe.
yep, building up the body, but you'll feel a little flutter.
Mhm.
I do to cheat when I'm tired.
How do you know a good distance when you're trying to roll? Too much roll? I know if you don't have what's wrong with it out.
Yeah, for just regular, when you're
Yeah,
swimming?
just swimming was, I mean, you know, next stroke, and like how much do you roll and how do you know if you're doing it, what you.
Yeah, so she asked about that roll, because that is a different, I mean, in the day it was just arm stroke. So yeah, you're consciously sort of thinking about the roll, but think of it more as, I'm going to leverage this whole side of my body, and by doing it, think about touching the end of the wall, and how do I do that? You're going to feel like an overextension, so one of the drills Janet does is, it's called a 180. You just kick like this and swim, and then after about 3 seconds, she'll say, okay, go to the other side. And you can see, I just rolled. And then she'll say, go to the other side. And then go to the other side. So you'll hold that, and then you'll feel a very purposeful roll. And you just do it very slow.
And then that'll be the drill. and
That's
then
the
you
drill.
just-
And then what she'll do is she'll say, okay, now just do it for 2 seconds. 1, 2. See? And then she'll say, okay, take it all out, and then you've got your stroke. Like that. Not quite like that, but it's hard not being in the water. So she'll break it down like that. All right, well, we are out of time. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
having
Ann.
me here.
We
I love
appreciate
it.
you.